World of Warcraft just announced a battle royale, kind of like Fortnite, and it looks sick. And I think it could be the next giant step in kind of reviving World of Warcraft to its glory days. Now, before you watch this video, I want you to kind of throw out what you think of this already, because a lot of people I've seen with just initial negative reactions, kind of like what we're used to with the WoW community. But as I hit play and let this start just playing behind me, I kind of want to talk about why I think this is such a big deal. Now, this is starting, I believe, today in 10.2.6. It's still downloading for me, but the World of Warcraft Plunderstorm, this is the Battle Royale, like I said, a lot like Fortnite. And the reason why I think this is such a big deal is because since I've started playing World of Warcraft, I've kind of noticed a couple rifts in the community. There's this one big rift in knowledge where you have people who have been playing since vanilla WoW and classic WoW meant the same thing, like people that have been playing for 20 years at this point. And then you have the people who have started in Dragonflight. Myself, I started in Shadowlands. Some people started Mists of Pandaria, BFA. People have started at different points in time, so their knowledge gap is varying in size. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's to be expected with a game as old as World of Warcraft, but the problem kind of comes when you look at the next rift that kind of gets, extended because of that previous one, and that is the PvP versus PvE rift. You have one group of players that logs in and just spams 3v3 skirmishes all day long, people that spam brawls, spam battlegrounds, and that is all that they play WoW for, and they are totally valid in doing that. There is a completely separate side to WoW that plays PvP. And then on the opposite side of the same coin, there are the people like myself who just play PvE. So they just raid, Mythic Plus, maybe open world content, just PvE. And the problem is that if you're on my side of that coin, in order to turn it over and kind of give PvP a chance, there's a giant barrier of entry there, a huge one. And it's kind of straining or bottlenecking the PvP community where, in an expansion, say 100 people that play PvP consistently quit the game, only about 25, now these numbers are obviously completely made up, but hopefully it makes the point come across, but only about 25 new PvE normally or new WoW players give PvP a shot and stick with it. And one of the big issues there, going from PvE to PvP, is you no longer have to just know how your spec, your class, your spells operate. Because now you have to know how every spec operates. I mean, look at myself just for example, but I'm sure you can put yourself in my shoes or in similar shoes. I play Mistweaver Monk only, basically. I play healers only in PvE content. If I were to load into a PvP game, which I have in the past, and there's a rogue on the enemy team, whether that rogue is a subtlety rogue, outlaw rogue, assassination rogue, I don't care. It doesn't matter. I don't know what it does. I don't know how to play around it. I don't know how to use my spells to counteract theirs, what their spells even are looking to do, how I'm dying, when to use my defensives, what cooldowns to watch out for, what buttons they press that I should be scared of. It's just, one of those things. And that kind of just goes not just for Rogue, not just for me, but for you as a player, whether you started 20 years ago and just haven't tried out like Death Knight since it came out, or you started this year and just have only played your one class, leveled your one class or one spec. It applies across the board. And what makes this game mode special is that it's gonna be good for all players. It's going to be good for the casual player because they will be on a level playing field with the rest of people. Obviously, you can bush camp, as you see literally at perfect timing on the screen. And it's going to be good for PvP people because they, obviously know how to do one-on-one fights. They might even be able to handle a one-on-two fight better than a PvP player or PvE player otherwise would have. But it's also going to be good for PvE players because, one, they should, handle the farming aspect that this game mode offers, trying to, get the best gear, get the best spells, trying to get as much as possible XP. I guess it looks like you gain XP in this. So it's going to be good for them because they can kind of narrow that PvP knowledge gap by just utilizing their PvE strength. But also it's going to help them, dip their toes into PvP, because now instead of having to know what the 30 rogue spells do and how to counteract all of them. You just have to know how to counteract like 4 spells at a time. People can only have what looks like, I guess, 5 spells at a time, or 4 spells in a barrel. I don't know, but you now only have to counter each spell, and yes, you will have to kind of like memorize this entire pool of spells that they're going to put in this game mode. Like, that's not what I'm arguing. But as you play this game more and more, you're going to find different spells. And it's going to be really cool because, like, here they picked up Holy Shield. Here's the Fire Tornado Vortex thing. Once you play with it, you'll know how it works. Instead of having to level a rogue all the way to 70 to access all the spells and test them all one at a time, you now can test each spell one at a time and get used to that. And even when you fight one-on-one with a person, you see them shoot an arcane orb at them. If you've never played Arcane Mage, normally you probably wouldn't know how that killed you or how it dealt so much damage. But when you see that thing nuke you in this game mode, it'll just make more sense. It'll be easier to learn. And this could open the door for more long-term PvE players like myself to just want to engage more in PvP content, because now I'll kind of understand what a couple more spells do. It might make me want to try out a new spec because I liked how one spell played, more than what I currently play. And who knows, I might just enjoy this game mode and never try out PvP again, which is totally fine. Now, that is kind of what I wanted to talk about mainly, the main point, but I do have another point that I want to touch on, and that is the sentiment, the community sentiment. I've heard a lot of people say one or two big arguments is, one, how is this a patch? They didn't really change retail WoW at all. They just made a new game and inserted it into WoW. And then two, kind of building off of that, this is a completely separate game. This is not World of Warcraft. We just get rewards for World of Warcraft. They're just using that engine. This is lazy. Just make it into a completely separate game. And to both of those things, I have to say this. One, touching on this is a completely separate game argument, or reason why people are not excited about this. This kind of is a completely separate game. I'm not arguing that it's not, because this is, just literally completely different than anything that we have in WoW currently. However, the good thing is, and why I don't understand why people are upset about this, or some people, I know it's a loud minority that are upset in this way, is if they would have released this as just like, if this was World of Warcraft Rumble, I know that already exists, but if they called it that and released it as a separate game, then you would see content creators playing it, and you would be like, oh, that looks fun. I want to see what this is about. I might want to try it or play it. And then you would have to buy the game. I mean, they would probably put like a $25 price tag on it or something like that. So literally this being inserted into the current game that we already play and, pay a subscription fee for is huge. It just saves us money from having to go and buy a $60 game. We now get a new game inserted into our other game. And a lot of people who are using that first argument, or why they are upset about this, like, why is this its own patch? Why is this what we've been waiting for? To them, I just say, look, I've played this game for a couple years now at this point. I know I'm still a newbie when it, if you look back in all of history, but there have been so many patches where they kind of implement something like this, where it's just completely different than the game that we normally play, a completely different way to grind, except it's associated with power. For example, Torghast. Torghast would have been really fun if it was just a mini game that you can run in and do, like, for, mounts, skins like transmog, or weapons, things like that. But instead there was power. There's a lot of power. It was basically mandatory to do Torghast if you wanted to participate in Shadowlands, and that mandatory nature kind of disconnected the player base from the dev team, because it's like, yes, this is cool content, or it could have been, but it's not, because you're making us do it in order to kind of play at a similar power level, or to play our character at the current content level. Same with things like Island Expeditions. Now, I didn't play in BFA, but all I've heard about Island Expeditions is that they're miserable because you guys had to play them, or those who did, had to play them every week and grind it for power, for your Azerite power, or whatever it was. But me, as someone who started playing after that was a necessity, after you had to play that every week, I went and I just farmed transmog with one of my friends, and I had a great time. I loved Island Expeditions because it was something that I was going out of my way to do separately, extracurricularly, I guess is a good word, instead of being forced to do it like some people were, and that left a bad taste in their mouth. I don't have that bad taste in my mouth about Island Expeditions because I didn't have to do it. So that's kind of what this is. Now, from the looks of it and the way that they're showing it literally currently on screen, good timing, is it looks like it's all cosmetic rewards. You're getting mounts, pets, transmog, things like that. At least that's how they've kind of spoiled it, in my opinion, and from what I've seen from other creators. But it does not look like there's any power. You're not going to have to go and farm a legendary to get the 40 renown here so that you can use it in current retail WoW. That's not what this is, at least what it looks like. And that is a huge thing, meaning if this is not for you, if you don't enjoy this content, this Battle Royale playstyle, you don't have to play it. You literally cannot touch it, live your life as you are now, and let the rest of the people who do enjoy it like just hands off. Like if you don't want to play a game, don't buy it. In this case, you don't even have to buy it because it comes with the game you're already paying for. So now the last thing that I want to say is that I have been, since I haven't played WoW for that long of time relative to other creators, I have played a lot of other games, and I've played some games semi-competitively, some games competitively, and that is my background. So I have seen a lot of different games fail and some games succeed. And one of the big turning points in that, when a game starts to dip and or starts to gain, huge followings, kind of like Fortnite did. I'm sure you guys remember back in like, I don't know, 2017, whenever it was big. One big thing is that they isolate an issue in the game and they work to correcting it. And one thing that I have noticed is that WoW, from my perspective, has not done that. There has been this rift in PvP and PvE, and back in Shadowlands, people were incentivized to play PvP just so they could take that gear that was stronger and take it into PvE. And ever since they fixed that, it's kind of like they've just left it hands off. And from what I've heard from the arena community, I don't know why they're pointing at me. I don't know what the case is, but I've heard that it hasn't gotten better. The PvP community is dying. And this, as a bridge for more PvE players to kind of be incentivized to try out PvP, to me, this is a good step. If it fails, it fails. It's a free shot that they're giving to us. The opportunity cost of this failing is literally just saying, hey, here's 10.2.6. Those who did not do the Plunderstorm, you basically get nothing. Those of y'all can just go play, like, I don't know, Apex Legends for a couple weeks until the next patch comes out. That's the opportunity cost. But the opportunity gain, I guess, I don't know, I didn't do that well in school, but this could be great, and it could kind of bridge the gap between PvE and PvP. I don't know. And if anything, at the bare minimum, it's going to be cool for a couple games until it gets old. And you know what? I'm here for it. And guys, if you are too, if you want to see more of this and watch me do some Plunderstorms myself, I will be streaming them starting tomorrow, Wednesday, whatever day it is for you guys, on twitch.tv. That link will be down in the description below. But also, I make plenty of other content. So if you're finding this channel because of Plunderstorm, who knows? This could be something very cool, and I am excited for it. And you guys can expect a lot more content from it, from me, or for it from me. But guys, my name's ElvinNinja7. I normally make healing content, but who knows? This could also give me a reason to make other content. I am excited. I hope you guys are too. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any future content from me. Hit like if you like this video, and you know what? Hit dislike if you're not excited about this content and I wasn't able to sway you. It won't hurt my feelings. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. It looks sick, guys. I'm just going to say it looks like Ascension, which if you haven't played Ascension, it is so much fun. And I think this is kind of like WoW's version of Ascension instead of Ascension's version of WoW. But guys, I'll let you guys go. Thank you so much for watching the video and for all the support. And thank you to these guys on the screen. These are the patrons of this channel, allowing me to try to be a content creator for this game, World of Warcraft. So thank you guys so much. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care.